Streaming now on IWTV. Action Wrestling. Check our schedule for all upcoming Action Wrestling events scheduled to stream live on IWTV. Watch over 90 Action Wrestling shows on demand anytime, featuring AC Mack, Adam Priest, Alex Kane, Cruel, and more.
Hello and welcome to the latest Business of the Business podcast. I'm your co-host, JP John Poz from the Two-Man Power Trip. Of course, joining me, the doctor. The doctor is in. Dr. M, Lavie Margolin. Lavie, what's going on today, sir?
Hey, John, on episode 297 here, we have an action-packed day, so we should just get with it. One of the newest innovations in the pro wrestling scene that's really caught my eye and something I'm following closely is the Hot Tag app. I love the effort to categorize the independent scene, make it easier to discover pro wrestling. As I looked more into it, I learned it was run by Dan Miller, who has a long-time involvement in supporting pro wrestling through his all his creative means. So looking forward to learning more today. Welcome, Dan.
Hey, great to be on the show, guys. Good morning.
So just even before we get into maybe some hot tag stuff, what about you as far as like wrestling fandom? How long have you been a fan? Where did you grow up? We always say that in the show, kind of where you grow up could be why you're a fan of a certain thing. So where did you grow up and when did you become a fan?
Actually, I just so happen to have, I'll get into it. So I grew up in Binghamton, New York.
Nice.
Yeah, in the 90s. So I am a child of the New Generation era. Just pre-New Generation era. Hogan going out of the WWF was around the time when I got into it. So I'm from up there, and it was one of those things where I just discovered it on a Saturday morning, and I got hooked, and off to the races we went. And it wasn't until a little later that I found out that my father wrestled. When he was in his 20s, nothing major, but he was in the Long Island area for a little bit. And it's funny that your name is Dr. M because he went by the name the Evil Dr. Miller, which is a moniker that I might be picking up soon, depending on how well Hot Tag takes off.
And my late father-in-law was Dr. Miller, and we won't say he's evil, but and from Long Island, but not the same person.
Oh, that's very funny. But yeah, so I have living proof that I was a Luger fan here. To me, with my paper championship belt. I didn't turn out like John Cena, but still involved in the business. So. Yeah, a hardcore fan ever since. My first pay-per-view watching live was SummerSlam 94. And on I went. I became lapsed in my teenage years, but after I graduated college, I got back in really hard, like really hard. I went to a house show, and I fell in love all over again. And ever since then, I've been, obsessed. I trained for a little bit, wrestled a couple matches, hurt my back. So ever since hurting my back, I kind of parlayed that into, I knew a lot of people, and there were some holes, I would say, in the scene as far as video output. So I got a camera. I started filming promos for people, and on I went. Worked for MLPW for a little bit. I'm the producer and commentator for New Texas Pro. We had a great show last night, Super Texas Contender Series 12. That's live on YouTube and IWTV. You can watch the replays today. So I've been pretty deep in the weeds for a couple of years now.
So how did you actually get involved, like behind the scenes and doing all that stuff? Like, were you thinking wrestling because your dad was a wrestler, or like how did that even like evolve? How did that happen? I know you said you got into it hard, but how did you actually get into the business?
I started training. I started training at Row at the Booker T school for a couple of years. Wrestle a couple matches, but I was always interested in the story aspect of it, the pomp, if you will, of the presentation of professional wrestling. So that's why I was really into doing segments and promos and cutting video packages for people, because one of the best parts I feel about professional wrestling is the anticipation for the big event, getting excited. I remember getting really excited for, even though I didn't watch it, WrestleMania 10, Bret Hart versus Owen Hart. Who was going to win? Who was going to walk out the champion? There were 3 different people that could have walked out the champion. That whole day, I was thinking the entire world was waiting on this moment like it was, Super Bowl, even though business was a little bit different back then as far as the popularity, internationally of WWE. But I mean, that was like the whole world for me, and it was like really exciting at the time to like see what was going to happen. So kind of chasing that feeling of anticipation was really big for me. And you do that through hype. And I like hyping people up, getting people, excited about wrestlers, excited about the characters.
I was at WrestleMania 10, by the way. So just to throw that out there.
Wow.
About 18 rows back. I don't know like what my dad was doing with the camera, but he got like these awesome cameras. Brett taking his jacket off, Piper taking his kilt off, Macho Man literally about to drop the elbow on Crush. Like I have a bunch of awesome pictures from the show too. Like, oh man, what an event. That was awesome. To me, I actually like Owen and Brett the best, and everybody talks about the ladder match, but I just thought that match was great, and I always liked Brett, so I was more attached to what he was doing that day than the ladder match.
My father was in attendance the day Bruno Sammartino lost the belt.
Whoa! Oh my God! You could hear a pin drop, is what they say.
That's what he told me. It's like I've never seen so many people just not make a sound.
Wow, weird. I guess our equivalent today was like how many of those people were upset when John Cena lost, right? And in Washington, D.C., they were all crying that Gunther beat him. That's somewhat of an equivalent. I don't know if exact equivalent.
Undertaker losing the streak.
Oh, duh, yeah, yes. Even more so, definitely. Yes. Oh, my God, those people's faces. Holy crap. That one guy, forget his name.
Yeah.
Crazy. So as far as independent wrestling, though, how do you think the business has changed over the last few years? Because I feel like it's been a change in.
Well, I mean, how far back do you want to go? Streaming and the way that independents can make money has changed. I mean, you can't really sell DVDs anymore, and a lot of the major stars went to AEW when AEW started. So there was a big cleaning house of phenomenal talent around that time that AEW started. So what a lot of the indies around the country needed to do was build up a new crop of talent. And I think we're about that point where some of the really good talent is about to break through. I've been seeing it. So we have, for example, at New Texas, we do the show called the Texas Contender Series, where we take some of the younger talent and develop them and give them positions on the show to try new things, discover themselves, try out different character things, and give them a shot. Because sometimes when you're a young independent wrestler, you might drive hundreds of miles to try to get on a scramble, and you can't really develop a story, you can't develop a character like that unless you're just hammering away online. And but getting those reps in is very important now. And the way that I kind of see the landscape is a younger crop of kids really need to break through, and I think we should be getting to that point right now. And my idea with Hot Tag is to try to help them a little bit.
So I'm going to hot tag it over to Lavie, because Lavie's got a lot to talk about with Hot Tag.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that's been a challenge with independent wrestling, maybe since its inception, is discoverability. There's nothing worse for me than like finding out that there was a show, not too much of a schlep from me, but I didn't realize it was there till afterwards. So the fact of being able to discover it is so important. there's been different efforts throughout the years. One that's persisted for many years and is a wonderful resource is From the Desk of Phil Stamper, where I have to do like Control F and search Yonkers or Bronx or New York to try to find something, which is wonderful. But the Hot Tag app really brings it into the modern age, in terms of discoverability. So what inspired you to do this, and how's it going?
Exactly what you said. Have you ever seen a poster for a show on Facebook and the date is marked posted 5 days ago? Well, geez, I just missed that show. I didn't know this guy was in my area. This wrestler who I wanted to see was coming to town, and I didn't even know about it. As a wrestling promoter, especially if you're running solo, you got to make sure your street team's in order. You got to be posting stuff online. And even then, some stuff can get lost in the algorithm. And, when you're on Twitter, you're competing with politics, tech, news. Facebook, you're competing with grandma. Instagram, you're competing with reels and pictures of food and, bikinis. With Hot Tag, it's all right there. And something that I also discovered during this process is that there are a lot of people that really aren't on social media. There's a lot of people my age, people over the years of 50 who they're not on X, they're not on Facebook looking for independent wrestling, but this is a resource for them to. I've had people come up to me and say, "Hey, my buddy, I just brought him to the show. He's on Hot Tag now because he doesn't really go on any social media platform, and he's able to look for shows and keep that contained." What's good about Hot Tag is it is just independent wrestling, and it's not anything else. You could follow your favorite promotions, your favorite wrestlers, get updates on them, see when shows are coming to your area, mark them on your calendar, say, "I want to go to the show," so it's going to pop up right up on your home screen, and you get those links to your favorite independent promotions social media accounts, your favorite wrestlers' social media accounts. So that's I just want to bring everything together and bring it on home.
So I'd imagine something like this takes a lot of investment in terms of gaining momentum. Once it's known, everyone wants to be there. But until you start and no one's there, no one wants to bother doing it. So how did you build the momentum to have so many promotions listed already?
Well, I took it amongst myself to just kind of list them. I mean, they're there. It's free advertising even for the promotions that don't sign up. So I knew it was going to be a problem getting all of those promotions in there. And Phil has been a tremendous resource. He's helped me a lot through this entire process. So I've been able to bulk upload these promotions into the website. And if they want to claim the website, so they could fill out, put their YouTube links in there, put YouTube videos in there of their shows, merch links, things like that, they could do that. But otherwise, they have at least a landing page available for them already that is making sure that their events are up to date.
So being pro wrestling, whenever you're trying to do something good, something weird might happen, or the feedback might be off. So for example, our friend from WrestleMap, which covers wrestling promotions around the world, had listed 2 Iranian pro wrestling promotions. And one of them started threatening him because he was acknowledging the other. Without naming names, have you had any weird situations with that? How can you list this other promotion in Louisiana there, Shindy Wrestling, only list us, any situations like that?
I am coming to the independent wrestling scene hat in hand, saying I just want to make sure people are going out to shows, because at this point, I think it's really important that these shows are discoverable and people do get out to the shows. So I'm just trying to come at this from a very good, well-meaning position. So I haven't encountered anything like that yet. Fingers crossed, but we'll see. Thanks for letting me know.
Oh yes, it's coming. Hopefully not, but you'll have some interesting stories within the next couple of years, I'm sure, as you continue to grow. And it's such a valuable resource. So it looks like it's really beyond just events listing. It's really becoming like a tentpole for the independent wrestling scene. What are your aspirations for it? What do you want this to be in 3 years?
I want it to be something where the ring announcer before the show say, hey, make sure you follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and hot tag. And I'm supposed to be waking up right now, but I'm already awake. I want it to be a thing where wrestlers would have their QR codes. Listen, every page on that site automatically generates a QR code. So if you're a wrestler, all you have to do is click the QR code on your page. You get a display of it, you print it out, you put it on your merch stand, and have people follow. Eventually I would like to get to the point where a wrestler would be able to see where their fans are from. So if you're in Texas, for example, and you're saying, wow, I have a lot of fans in Atlanta, but I've never wrestled there. Maybe I'll hit up Action. I have a lot of people following me from San Francisco. Maybe I'll hit up West Coast and I'll try to get out there. And that gives tangible proof to the promoter as well that, hey, I could be a draw out here, even though you never booked me. Let's try to work something out. I think I could get some extra fans to your show. So I think it's going to work hand in hand, wrestler and promoter.
So one of the interesting things of being able to look at the map is being able to see where the shows are. Partly it could be like a visibility thing, right? Certain promotions that are just so local that they're not yet on your radar or posting themselves. But I think it's at the volume where it is illustrative of where the scene is running. So in looking at that, have you thought about like, there's an opportunity here, in these states or these cities for independent promotions that, are looking at the map just because, the Northeast and certain areas of California or Chicago, wherever it may be, there's just so many promotions running that, this is leading to opportunity.
Yeah, well, Indiana was bumping last weekend. There was just, on my map, if you go to hottag.app, there was just all this glowing orange on Indiana. So it's interesting to see. I've learned a lot about the independent wrestling scene just by doing this project, just where shows are. And when you talk about the smaller independent promotions, this also serves as a good hub for them who have outdated websites to keep everything up to date and handy. If you go to a promotion page on the site, you see all of their upcoming events up top if they fill everything out. You see their champions, you see their roster, and I'm trying to make it as simple and easy as possible to get up and running. For example, when you put in an event on the promotion dashboard, you can save your streaming links. You can save some of the venue locations. When you go in, you're like, I'm going to be at this location. These are my streaming links, and all of the venue information is saved from previously. So setting up an event could take a minute. Sharing the event to all your friends could take a minute. Sometimes you go on these websites, it's hard to find a ticket link. With here, you just go to the event page, share the event page, and then you have the link, the card, the map to get to the place. There is a link where you can save it to your Google Calendar. Like everything is all in one place, whether it's for an event, a promotion, a wrestler, and even the crew. One of the big tasks that I want, a dream that I have for the site as well, is for a lot of referees, ring announcers, commentators, gear makers to use the site to make that section of the website kind of like a classifieds. So many times I see promoters posting on Facebook, hey, I need a referee. I need a referee like tonight. For them, they could go on the site and say, all right, where are the referees in my area? And I could hit them up without having to resort to going to social media to try to beg for referees for the night.
Awesome. And you can even tag like, from the promotion, the wrestler could tag themselves that they were there, something like that. Also, not to push it too much, maybe there's a section for podcasts, and you can have when there's a wrestler or affiliated guest, they could be tagged on that, and that could help with
discover. That's an idea. I'm going to write that down right now.
I'm thinking on my feet as I sit down here. So let me awesome. So let me turn it over to John so we could get the promo in.
So where could everybody find, follow it, and basically get this ASAP so they can not only help themselves find the shows, but also help the shows find the people?
Hottag.app. We do have an app coming out. I just got approved on Google Play Store. So if you have an Android device, you can download the Hot Tag app. And I am in the review process for iOS. I'm in my second round. Hopefully this will be the last round. And we will be on iOS sooner rather than later, hopefully.
Love that. And where can everybody kind of find and follow you if you're out there on the socials, if everybody wants to connect with you?
I am at Dan Miller Zone on Instagram and X. And follow New Texas Pro. You get to listen to my voice on all of our shows. We just got done with a huge stretch, and I am exhausted. We had a lot of really huge shows over the past month. So I am going to take a break this weekend, but be right back to it, working on Hot Tag. It's been such a wonderful project to work on. I learned so much about the independent wrestling scene while putting this together, and I hope it's a great resource for fans as well as promoters, wrestlers, the crew, everybody involved in the scene.
Awesome. Dan, thank you so much for all the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Take care.
So long.
All right, Lavie, let's get to some of the news here. What is going on with TNA Wrestling? Did the Philly experiment work? Did it not work? Did they kind of bait and switch us with Hardy versus Nemeth? What's going on here with TNA?
Yeah, so we're going to save the LeBron news for later. We expect to have a special opportunity later to discuss that. Is LeBron coming on our podcast? Stay tuned.
Whoa.
But there was a lot of news unexpectedly coming out of Philly here. So first of all, in the way we typically roll it out, let's look at the attendance. 1,938 on night one and July 30th, and 1,296 on night two. So just looking at the attendance, John, people celebrating that, but the pictures that I was seeing, it was like, this is a pretty big venue, right, John? Is it 6,000 to 8,000?
Yeah, so I've been there before when, you're almost selling the place out and you're getting 6,000 to 8,000 people. So if you think about it, wouldn't you just rather run the arena, get the full sellout of 1,000 rather than, okay, we'll get 1,200 and 1,300 or, maybe 1,400, 1,300, but it'll look empty. You know what I mean? Wouldn't you rather it look full? To me, I thought that was a misstep. I wouldn't have ran there.
Yeah, so allegedly, and that's not exactly the allegations that MLW is having now, just that they're moving their show. But, in terms of, articles that are coming out, you may have to be careful with the arena in terms of getting payouts on a timely basis. I hadn't heard anything like this. Apparently, the word had been out for a little while. I don't know, but that's something that we'll talk about a little bit later and should be investigated a little bit more. Hopefully that truth will come out. Now, one of the first controversies, though, was that there was a feeling that people would get on television Nemeth against Jeff Hardy, and PW Insider kept posting about it from, I think, a TNA press release, and it was just confusing. And good on Nick Nemeth. He actually hit this up straight up, and he said the wording was confusing on the adverts for a large part of the audience. We knew the schedule for weeks, and as a champ, I take responsibility for not conveying this clear. Also, incredible main event last night and Philly again tonight. So do you think, in terms of the first level of confusion, do you think that there was a little bit of bait and switch with the main event there?
I honestly thought so. And a buddy of mine messaged me about it who kind of follows TNA on the peripheral, but he was mentioning that he was going to watch a show. He felt like it was a bait and switch. So I was like, I kind of thought that. And now a fan that was about to watch it, now he feels like he was. So just judging by what I thought initially and what he thought, I definitely has to be somewhat considered to be a bait and switch. And the fact that Ziggler said that, I feel, or Nick Nemeth said that, I was like, man, like that's good on him that he kind of came out and said it. Like the wording was very confusing. So yes, it definitely was.
Yeah, full credit to him. Certainly, I don't think he gets any blame for this, but given his position, I think as a leader, it's awesome to see him grow into this. Even though I haven't really watched any of his matches recently, but
Oh,
just
you need to. He's great.
yeah, no, I think he was like that. From the WWE era, and it was like post my like watching closely. It always seemed like he was like close to the top, but maybe what held him back, John, you let me know because I'm so many steps removed. It seemed like a little bit too much of like trying to be Shawn Michaels, where
Maybe a little bit, yeah. I could definitely see that, like from like looking at it from outside in. But I just feel like he just never was really given the spot, and when he was one time, he got injured. So they like I feel like that always kind of goes against you. It's like, oh, we tried to give you this spot, you got hurt, and then you know what I mean. Even just having a Braun Breaker, like he was, oh, we're gonna do this, we're giving you this big push. He got hurt, and now he's tag team champion, like fooling around the tag division. So I feel like
yeah,
there
that's
part of that happens for sure.
yeah. And just as an aside, there, did you see his cousin, Von Breaker's cousin, is suspended 6 games by the NFL?
Yeah, why though? What happened there?
So they didn't say exactly, but people were just looking at like how do you get suspended 6 games by the NFL, and it could be performance enhancing drugs, not revealed.
Okay.
But to me, was he drafted or was he just like a walk on to?
Like one of those unrestricted free agents where right after the draft you have the UFDAs, the unrestricted free agents can sign, and he signed as one of those.
That's got to be a killer for your career. Do you think they would keep him on? Like,
No, to be honest, no. Because
welcome to
why would they?
yeah, welcome to the WWE developmental system, and that might be the best thing,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
all.
And honestly, getting suspended from the NFL and go to WWE, that could help your cred if you're trying to be like I don't know, do it like a crazy gimmick. Like this guy was suspended from the NFL. If it's not PEDs, if it's something else, like this guy was suspended, kind of
Yeah.
could play into a gimmick.
Yeah, and a moment like, he had all the photo shoot with the team, that
Yes,
you already have
yes.
that, even if you never
Yep,
played the game. But maybe
yep.
like for a year or two, he'll try to catch on, and we'll see from there. But back to TNA on a busy day. Partnerships. So from Anthem on LinkedIn, and people should really follow them on LinkedIn because that's where a lot of their business news is shared. Partnerships are their best when they create memorable experiences for fans, and that's exactly what we were able to do with Harpoon Brewery during Summerversary. So that's one thing, and then an even bigger partnership, John, Dude Wipes. I know it might sound funny, but it's actually
Whoa.
closest to
Yeah.
their A-list sponsorship that they've ever had. Dude Wipes is a nationally known brand, is on Shark Tank and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's a great partnership for them, and there's nothing embarrassing about having Dude Wipes sponsor a promotion called TNA Wrestling. What did you think when you heard about this?
Honestly, I thought that was pretty big time because Dude Wipes is everywhere, like doing everything. They were doing something with like Tom Brady at one point. Like, I mean, they were like everywhere doing everything. So that's pretty big time. I thought that was good. I did big thumbs up for that one.
Yeah, and there's no shame in their game. I mean,
Yes.
it's good if they get the word out there. Some people really need such support. Also on TNA, so Mike Johnson of PW Insider has said that there's no update on Road Dogg Brian Armstrong starting with the promotion, but they're told they're still talking. The OVW TNA deal is closer to completion compared to the Armstrong deal. So for some reason, when I read this quickly, I was thinking that maybe they would be working with Diamond Championship Wrestling with, the Armstrongs, but I think that just means the Road Dogg. Cheeseburger was at the tapings, which is always cool to see. Love that guy. Now, an interesting thing, which 30-second takedown is an amateur wrestling series where you have 30 seconds to take down your opponent in this tournament format. So kind of a cool little thing. Not sure if that's going to bring people to the TNA Plus app, but good to see them getting out there more. One thing that's looking strong is the UIC show, 3,521 tickets for August 23rd for lockdown. Now, interesting, John, I don't know if this is something we should be concerned about, especially with Tampa Youngling Center, Bound for Glory, October 11th. So as we record this, we're a little bit more than 2 months out. So it might be announced and it's all good, but just haven't seen that. They've announced all these shows for a while, but they haven't put tickets on sale as far as I'm aware yet. Edmonton, Destination X, Calgary for double shot taping November 18th and 19th, and El Paso, December 17th and 18th. So interesting to see when those tickets go on sale. Obviously for December, no rush, but October isn't too far away.
GCW. What is going on with Game Changer? They're going to different states here. They were in my neck of the woods here. They're in my neighborhood. What's going on with GCW?
Yeah, so Brett getting his state 40, Minnesota, in what looks like a wonderful, successful event for all involved, First Wrestling and GCW. And an interesting article on RacketMN.com that came out. 3,000. So they were anticipating, this is pre-show, 3,000 attendees between 6 events, which makes a lot of sense. Now, Racket covered it with the following. The lining kicks off Thursday with a 21-plus event at Uptown VFW before the gang heads to an all-ages extravaganza at the Mall of America, and later hardcore wrestling with GCW, the largest independent wrestling organization in the world. We'll be partnering with First for 2 big shows at First Avenue. Throw in First's premiere event Remix at First Avenue, and you've got enough skull-crushing action to make even the most hardcore fan piss there, John Cena George. That's a great line. I knew we couldn't present the same show 6 times in a row. Every show is going to have a different variable. And credit to them, for moving it around. Obviously, you're not going to have 6 shows at the Mall of America. Awesome thing with Jushin Liger showing up. The logistics obviously make a lot of sense when GCW does it for WrestleMania weekend, but I think it's a smart idea to move it around, as well. Even though there's some logistical challenges that come about. With the GCW show that ran on Sunday, I think right at 1 p.m., then there was a lot of travel issues that, that happened. We'll talk about the Produce Wrestling maybe meltdown a little bit later. But John, the weekly question, did you go to 20 years of The Bad Boy? I think that was last night.
So we were thinking about it. Me and my buddy were thinking about it. It was either that or the Phillies game, and we decided to go to the Phillies game. So we went to a great, beautiful Citizens One ballpark over there, or Citizens Bank ballpark in Philadelphia instead, and watched the Phillies have a nice little victory over the Nationals. But if the weather was bad, because initially they were saying thunderstorms, it was beautiful. What a beautiful night! So we followed the weather report. We're like, let's go to the Phillies game. So we did that instead.
Okay, so I didn't get to see pictures from the event or reports.
The only thing I saw was Just Incredible posted a picture. That's the only thing I saw, but it was before people were coming in, so I couldn't get a sense of how many people were there.
Okay. Did they put Just Incredible on the show, or he was a special guest?
I think he was a special guest because he kind of is the one that got Janela into business. So Joey's always good to him, and we'll bring him to shows and stuff, and shows respect, almost hey, 20 years ago I'm knocking on your door in New Jersey trying to become a wrestler. Incredible kind of helped him.
Oh, okay, that was nice because I kind of feel bad. People are always dunking on him with the Memphis wrestling appearance and. Yep. All that.
Not Janela. Janela, not at all. Loves him.
Yeah. So that's nice to see. From my last check of it, there were 10 or more GA standing room seats, available. So might have been sold out, or certainly nearly so. And just a final note, back to Cincinnati. Fair amount of seats left at the moment, but obviously they did well there last time to return, in a fairly quick manner.
Man, with GC Dub, though, I just, and I guess we'll get into it later with Produce. I just wonder what the hell's going on with that. But we can talk about that later. What's going on with AEW?
Yeah, it's just when I said, well, we don't need to talk as much about myaew.com. They smartly, announced, instead of a one-off signing of different promotions that it all came at once. And now they've kind of rolled out a schedule. So like when you look at it, August 15th, WXW, August 21st, Death Before Dishonor, 23rd, Brawl in the Ballpark. So that was, the content they have from before, a good way to use it. The Eve show, August 28th, 29th, Rev Pro, August 30th, obviously all in London buy-in, and then all in. So, you have some momentum going there with all the different promotions that they have now. Create a Pro, Limitless, Eve, Rev Pro, WXW, CMLL for the pay-per-views, Produce, 1FW, Dave Marquez's variety there, WrestleCade, WrestlePro, C4, might even be missing a few. What's interesting with the Bushiroad is now that they don't own New Japan, we're starting to see some more of that, but obviously in this section, because it includes AEW. I don't know what this is. Weiss, Schwartz, TCW. It sounds like a very Jewish
Yeah, you would love that. Yes, yes.
I got to get into it, but interesting that it's from Japan. So right, it's like totally different, right? Bushiroad is introducing the world of professional wrestling to the Weiss Schwartz TCW with the launch of Forbidden Door trial decks and booster packs. 2 Forbidden Door trial decks will be offered, one featuring the wrestlers of AEW, the other focused on the King of Sports, New Japan. The decks come with a fixed set of 50 cards each, representing 20 card types and 20 parallel cards, and each deck includes 2 of 20 possible shiny cards, including 2 hot stamp signature cards. So a little bit off the radar for most pro wrestling fans, and maybe a smart idea to buy up those packs and then get them rated, with the way people are going crazy over cards.
Yes.
I know the games doesn't resonate, in the same way, but maybe an investment opportunity there. Something else, and AEW hasn't done tremendous, I would say, with their international distribution. Obviously, my AEW helps to satisfy that in some way, but in terms of broadly reaching fans that aren't fans already, a bit of an unfortunate news at the moment from Mexico. Maybe things will change. From Lucha Blog, Sky, the biggest cable company in Mexico, announced they're dropping all Fox Sports channels at the end of August. Those channels currently broadcast all AEW programming and CMLL Friday night shows. But John, I was seeing a lot from AEW being out there with CMLL, and that seemed to be a success. What were you seeing?
Huge success. I feel like 16,000, I guess, is the sellout in Arena Mexico. It was approaching it, and you're going to walk up. So I'm checking that off the box. It's a definite sellout. The crowd was hot. They did a longer show, too. It was almost 3 hours. So that was a better Dynamite, almost like a pay-per-view level Dynamite. But, man, that crowd is awesome. Just the energy there. The look of it is amazing. So anytime you team up with CMLL, I feel like, especially nowadays, it's a home run.
Yeah, that's and it makes it gives a different flavor to the shows that they do. So I think that's certainly their strongest international relationship right now.
Now it's going off of their channels though, as far as CMLL, and it off of Fox, or how does that work?
Yeah, so Sky, they're the biggest cable company in Mexico. They're dropping all Fox Sports channels. So they broadcast AEW programming, which is probably most significant, and CML Friday night shows. But Lucha Blog said that CML is on Televisa, which I'd imagine is their primary outlet. Now there's another Fox that has AAA, and that one is not in danger. So kind of confusing to follow.
Yeah, I was going to say, what about AAA? Okay, so they're not affected whatsoever. Okay, that's good. Now, kind of going north here, we're going from Mexico through the United States up to Canada. Maple Leaf Pro, what's going on with them? I feel like they're doing pretty good. I see Brett was putting it on social media about Maple Leaf Pro. Edge is putting it out there. What's going on with Maple Leaf Pro here?
Yeah, they're crushing it right now. From a Canada perspective, which is the biggest promotion in Canada? Obviously, TNA resonates so much worldwide with the deals that they have and so on. But TNA doesn't necessarily brand themselves as a Canadian promotion, and probably a good idea in terms of promoting themselves more American, but they've really conceded Canada now to Maple Leaf, which I would say is the number one Canadian promotion, where They've sold out the Mattamy Athletic Center. Last Wrestle Ticks count was max of 2,482. I don't know if you could squeeze anyone else in there. Probably not too much more. What's interesting is that years ago I was looking into this space, which of course is the old Maple Leaf Gardens, and part of it was that you can't promote shows by saying it's the old Maple Leaf Gardens. Maybe that's changed. But of course, everyone always talks about it in that way. So, and then of course, the much smaller college that Scott D'Amore has worked with for years. They've sold out their tapings as well. Something that's just illustrative of the relationships that Maple Leaf is developing. They put on their social media, congratulations to their baseball team, which has had a second place finish in the Forest Glade Baseball Senior Boys Division. We're proud to support the communities that support us. So just, a smart idea, sort of like integrating yourself more into the community, especially, with people that don't normally follow pro wrestling.
Now, NWA Samhain and all their shows. What's going on with NWA?
Yeah, so that branded show, which may or may not have cost them a television deal, you're probably not. Thrill or Be Thrilled, they're going to be in Milwaukee at the Turner Hall Ballroom, which is a smart venue to run. So basically, that's the NWA news at the moment. Have you had a chance to catch any NWA shows of recent, John?
Just clips online and stuff. I like their champion, Silas Mason, but haven't really been able to catch much other than that. I know that they're on Comet, and I actually do, which is surprising. I do have that channel, so I'm going to have to start checking them out more often.
Awesome. I guess this is the moment, and maybe it's quite late to bring this up, but NWA Dory Funk Jr., as everyone has been, of course, talking about, has passed away. One of the news outlets that I've enjoyed following him, unfortunately, probably butchering the name, Ocala, Florida, where, of course, he's been based forever, running the Bang TV and real member of the community there. They've been running a number of articles about him, and it feels more personal because the people writing the articles actually know him.
My uncle actually lived many, many years ago, aunt and uncle in Ocala, Florida. So I'm kind of familiar with that area. But R.I.P., of course, Dory Funk, the legend Dory Funk.
And I didn't mess up the name too bad. I was almost there.
Nope. So what's going on? You mentioned before about 2300 Arena. So MLW is not running there anymore? What's going on with MLW?
Yeah, so here's all we know officially via MLW. Important update: due to the 2300 Arena's breach of its agreement with MLW, we made the decision to relocate October event from the venue. So what else do we know? Because I never heard any issues about the venue. Fightful reports MLW is exploring legal action against 2300 over payout issues from their mid-June TV tapings where the venue controls box office sales and payments. The dispute prompts MLW to relocate its October 3rd event to center stage, which happened like that day, with the promotion stating the arena breached their agreement and advising ticket holders to seek refunds. Apparently they faced similar issues in the past with New Japan and Ring of Honor shows. I don't see it, being as much of an issue with Tony Khan's Ring of Honor if they're running the venue, because they'll get their lawyers on you, in order to manage that. But maybe it's worth the trade-off, right? Because it took them a while to roll out of Triller, but not any modern issues that I'm aware of. Because at first, when I heard the news, I was like, maybe MLW has something in there, like, don't announce a show before we run one. But with 2300 Arena, there's always shows. So that's what I assumed was the first issue. Ashamed to see, one of their, well, they hadn't been there in forever, and then they returned there for a couple of shows and it seemed to go well. But center stage should be fine for them, as well.
So as far as your favorite topics of all time here and there, what is going on here and there? Because you were talking about Janela obviously before, we're talking about produce. What is going on here and there?
So I'm going to run through it pretty quickly because I think our guest is here in the waiting. But just quickly, that Janela announces that he'll no longer work with Produce Wrestling, which was pretty surprising because Adam Abdullah of Produce Wrestling knows, Joey Janela for years, Jersey Championship Wrestling, all of that. But, Produce Wrestling, as you run into the, more of a primary promoter, all these particular issues are coming up, and they're kind of owning them on X, where they're retweeting every complaint that people are having about them that I'm seeing, and then commenting on it, and not straight denying it. So that's great to see. As you know, John, an issue close to my heart, Israeli pro wrestling, Sukkot Brawl will be happening apparently. Hopefully it's quiet there with both what's it called? Chris Masters and
Carlito.
Thank you. I'm just thinking about the Apple. In South Korea, they ran another show that had about 3,000 in attendance, and we'll put a pin on it at the moment.
Right. We do have another special guest. This is a record here. Second guest here. Hello, Brian Tosh. What's going on? How's everything going?
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate the invite to come onto your program this morning to discuss the issues that Philadelphia fans and myself have been having.
Awesome, Brian. I enjoyed listening to a recent Sandman podcast, to which you are one of the co-hosts, of course, along with the legendary Sandman.
Excuse me, Doctor. I am the host.
You are.
Our co-host is Tyler Fullington, his son, but I am the host. I have to correct you and correct the record.
Okay, I know you are into accuracy, as we'll be talking about that issue today. When somebody represents something, you are seeking for it to be accurate and fair. So let's get right into it. From what I understand, you were at a recent TNA taping, and one of the promotional tools that was being used was, will LeBron James show up to TNA? What was your understanding of the promotion in advance, and what was the night like?
Well, the promotion in advance, I had seen that he was invited to go to the show. TNA Wrestling invited LeBron James to present the championship to the winner of the Nick Nemeth and Jeff Hardy championship match, which we can get into the nonsense that took place in the airing of that match. But yeah, he was invited, and the line that triggered not just myself, but a number of other people was, "See you there, see you there." And to me, that is an implicit invitation. But beyond that, when you take a look into TNA, they have a history of star professional athletes appearing. And if you do know your history of TNA, and you can date this back to Frank Wycheck, D'Angelo Williams, Pac-Man Jones, Tito Ortiz, AJ Brzezinski, LeBron would have fit right into the pattern of all-star celebrity athletes booked in this company. So I would ask both of you guys, have you ever seen the movie Casino?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Great movie.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, there's a scene where Sam Rothstein is very upset because one of the slots is hit. And he fires the gentleman who was in charge of watching this. And he said either he was in on it or he was too stupid to notice. So I have to ask you, was TNA deliberately promoting LeBron James knowing he would not appear, or did they actually think he would appear?
It's a good question. I honestly don't know the answer.
I don't either. And unfortunately, attempts to get reimbursed for the ticket plus parking, I understand that the cost there is not great. I mean, we'd be talking about $54.38 total. But went nowhere. So I had to do what I had to do, and that was to reach out for some litigation. And I've had, retained an attorney, a team of attorneys to deal with this issue, and have so far had no success. I'm not sure where we're going to go with this, if anywhere. But it's still upsetting. I think people trying to mislead Philadelphia is wrong. Especially when it comes to something like LeBron James. And was this just a desperate attempt to try to move some tickets? Is my question.
Now, in terms of the lawsuit, besides financial loss, do you think there was some emotional damage? I saw you had posted a picture. It looked like an older gentleman that was quite upset. Yes. What was the story behind that?
Well, so we have a friend. Friend is Junkyard Brown John. He's a lifelong pro wrestling fan dating back to events in the 70s and 80s, and just been going to wrestling his whole life. And he was excited to go to the show, and he was excited to see LeBron James. And when LeBron James did not appear, you can see him in the photo that I shared. He was visibly upset, and that's what really drove me to this point. When you upset a man like that to the verge of tears, that's not right. In TNA wrestling, under this regime, I don't think they did their fans a service, and I don't think they did the city of Philadelphia any favors. And quite frankly, I'm very upset about it. And I know some people think that this is being overly litigious or really stretching the boundaries here. And I'm not trying to disparage any of the great talents still working and competing in TNA, right? Bear Bronson and Gabby just signed, and they had Cheeseburger, Philadelphia legend, work the shows. And Mecca, shouts out to him on the promo that he cut before these Philadelphia cards. I mean, there's still some great hungry talents there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not, trying to take shots at anybody, but the management team, whoever okayed this, really dropped the ball. I mean, you make your league look minor league by doing this. And yeah, I'm just very upset about it, to be honest with you.
Now, what were the vibes throughout the night? Were like some fans wearing LeBron James jerseys? Were there signs there? Were people talking, is he coming out here or there? Maybe when some music hit that they didn't recognize, is that LeBron's entrance? Like, what was the vibe throughout the night?
Yeah, there was a buzz in the building for, at least in my section, of multiple people. I can only speak to my section, whether it was tens or dozens or hundreds. Obviously they didn't draw a great house that night, but there was palpable excitement in the building for LeBron. There was a gentleman in the front in front of us that we didn't come to the show with. He was wearing a Sixers jersey. There was multiple Sixers jerseys and shirts. In fact, probably other than the Hardys, probably the number one thing in the building that night, other than the Hardys, as far as attire. My friend, John, he was wearing a Sixers hat. Just disappointing, ultimately. And if you disappoint your paying fan base, people who spend their hard-earned money to see pro wrestling, would they be likely to come back the next night, or would they be likely to come back the next time you come to town? I doubt it. And I think that you're not building equity with your fan base like that. So I'm very disappointed with TNA. I'm very disappointed in their silence, and I think it speaks volumes. Do they have a comms team? Do they have a crisis management team? These are questions that I don't know. I mean, maybe you guys know, but it doesn't appear that they do. And yeah, quite frankly, I'm very, very angry at TNA. And at the very least, I am owed a formal apology, and the city of Philadelphia, not just myself, is owed a formal apology from Carlos Silva for that kind of promotional tactic.
One could say that they would need dude wipes to wipe away the stench of this current experience.
I would say so. Yes, I saw that they had a new deal with dude wipes. I'm just gonna let me put this out here. So I work with a local independent wrestling company in Philadelphia, Pro Wrestling Entertainment, and we've done a couple of notable things already in our short history of taking over that federation. We have an event coming up on September 27th. It's the Hoagie Throwdown. It's a really cool event. We did it last year. But if we were to invite Bobby Flay or Guy Ferry, and we said, see you there, and then they didn't show, I think that would be wrong. Would you both agree with that?
Yeah, that would not be good. Put it that way. It would not be good.
It would not be good. It would not be good. If I were to invite Emeril Lagasse to this event on September 27th, and he didn't show, and I said, see you there, Emeril. Like that to me is lame, ultimately. And this management team for them, it's just, I don't quite understand it, to be honest with you.
Well, John is more local. So depending on his schedule, if you say, see you there, you would have a good chance.
John, you are formally invited to the event on September 27th, the Hoagie Throwdown. It's a fantastic event. It's at Other Half Brewing. It's a Hoagie festival and a wrestling show and a beer garden. That's right up anybody's alley, I hope. But I mean, SmackDown is in town tonight in Philadelphia. And I can assure you they're not advertising or inviting Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, or even Philadelphia radio announcer Tom McGinnis, right? WWE is not doing those things.
You know what this might be? You know what this might be most comparable to, as I think about the history of pro wrestling. Do you remember when Eric Bischoff invited Vince McMahon to come
Absolutely.
to the show they were doing for a fight, and some fans thought that would actually be happening?
Absolutely. And the funny thing about that is WWE did pursue litigation in that matter with their counsel, Jerry McDivitt. And Jerry argued that by advertising and then saying that somebody would not be appearing, that professional wrestling fans have been educated to think that if somebody is not appearing and you say they're not appearing, then that they actually are going to appear. And he argued this successfully in court. So I would say there is some precedent here. And look, I'm not trying to make some kind of grandstand thing here, but right is right and wrong is wrong. And I'm also quite tired of all the messages I've been receiving on social media regarding the cost of attorneys. People have said, I can't believe that you would pay for attorneys for this. I would just say to those people, please do not pocket watch me. I am not in any kind of position to worry about the cost of these attorneys when right is right and wrong is wrong.
And have you thought about a class action lawsuit? I think they usually get a percentage of the payout without having an hourly fee or something.
It's something that is being considered. I don't know if the dozens of fans in attendance that night would make for enough of a suit there. I don't know if we have enough legs there. I don't know if enough fans feel as if the same way I do. I know that there were a number that did, including John, who was visibly upset and crying, as well as some of my other cohorts who were at the show with me feel the same way. But I haven't had a lot of traction as far as other fans wanting to join in on this case. The other thing I will say is that in speaking with my attorneys, due to the pressing cases and a full docket that the court system has, we might not be able to move forward with pending litigation. And again, I know how a lot of people hate how overly litigious society is. But again, right is right, wrong is wrong, and you do not mislead Philadelphia. I would say that this goes for not just Carlos Silva, but TKO, Tony Khan. I know you guys were talking MLW prior, Court Bauer, any promoter that comes to Philadelphia. Do not mislead Philadelphia fans. They will remember.
Great. Let me turn it over to John.
So as far as you, where could everybody follow you, and even the Sandman podcast?
Yeah, if you guys want to follow me, I'm Tosh.Bro on Twitter X. I'm also Tosh.Bro on Instagram. You guys can follow us, the Sandman podcast at Sandman Pod on Twitter X. You can find Sandman Podcast on YouTube and the Sandman Podcast on Instagram. We are putting out shows every single week covering prior history events in pro wrestling, specifically related to Hack's illustrious career at ECW, as well as all the current pay-per-views and PLE events. We should have a new episode out Monday covering SummerSlam Night 1 and 2, and also a lot of great feedback on the business side of the business from Hack directly, having traveled to Minneapolis for WrestleCon out there. One of the things that he's been talking about a lot recently is the fact that he feels as if the business is starting to enter into a down cycle. It's starting to wane a little bit, right, as far as business. And one of the places that is first felt with that is the tables, right? The people who are working the conventions. And so I always like to get his convention report. So he had a great report from WrestleCon that you can't miss hearing Monday when we drop this episode. So really interesting stuff as far as the state of the business, and as far as a lot of comps going out apparently for WrestleMania weekend in Minneapolis, according to Hack. So stay tuned for the Sandman podcast for that one.
Awesome. Brian, the host of the Sandman podcast. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank
and
you.
dropping some knowledge. Appreciate it.
Thank you for correcting that too. Making sure the doctor got that right. I am the host. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, John, I'm going to change it now. I am the host of the business. All right,
Sounds good.
thanks,
I'll be the
Brian.
co-host. Thank you,
Take
Brian.
care.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate the time, guys. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you, Brian. All right, Lavie, let's wrap it up and head towards the plugs. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at 2Man Power Trip. How about you?
Yeah, follow me on X, Lavie Marg, LAVIE-MARG. Check out my long-form articles on LionCubJobSearch.com. Join our LinkedIn group, The Business of the Business.
All right. Thank you, everybody out there, for listening. See you right back here next week for the business of the business. See you next week, folks.